Thanks for being here. My name's John. I'm a developer with about 10 years of experience. Let's ship some code together. Today, we're working on an advanced checklist feature for Latterly. In front of us is the database schema on supabase.com. You can see currently we have only one checklist. That is the programming job checklist. This is a free feature available on the free tier at latterly.io. And we would like to create a premium tier equivalent, an advanced checklist. So here you can see standard checklist right here. So that's what's currently in the database. Advanced checklist with at least 10 additional items. That's what we're working on now. By the way, in this pay what you want or pay what you can tier, as little as it is influence the development roadmap. And that is exactly why we are working on this advanced checklist feature right now, is by request of a pay what you can user. This is part 11 of a multi-part stream series. Series is on YouTube. Recommend you go follow the YouTube and you can see all the stuff we've been doing. This is totally open source. So I integrated Stripe, that was open source, used the Claude LLM, the code compiler. And what we were working on was a transcription service to turn my YouTube videos into a chatbot. That's why we were using Claude and GPT. Right now we are pivoting, so that feature is not complete. There's an open pull request, here it is, but it's not complete, and we are pivoting in the middle of developing that feature to prioritize a feature request from the pay what you can users. So that's an example of steering the development roadmap. So hope you'll take advantage of that as little as $1 a month. So let's kick off. So we have this checklist. It is the programming job checklist, and what we want to do is create an advanced version. The existing checklist is, we are in Latterly 3. This is an open source repository. Let me show you the GitHub URL. Feel free to throw a star on there if you like the project. And here in the seed file, so that will be under db, seeds.ts, you can see we define this programming job checklist with these checklist items. Now what I want to do is create an advanced checklist that uses a non-public file. So let's get started. So I am going to just go immediately over to GPT-4 and have a conversation with the code compiler. So we'll open up a new chat, enable the code interpreter. Let's update this TypeScript file, TypeScript Prisma seed file, to read a local secret file called checklist.json. So we'll move the free tier and the new premium tier into this checklist.json. Let's update this TypeScript file, Prisma seed file, to read a local secret file called checklist.json. To obtain multiple in place of the single existing hard-coded checklist. And we'll be a little bit specific and say // on the checklist.json. Hopefully the code will pick up on that, the code interpreter. Otherwise, I paste the file, hit enter. In the meantime, we're going to go proactively anticipate the changes. So here I'm going to make a file. It's going to be called checklist.json. I'm going to go to my gitignore. You can see this updated my changelog to expect checklist.json, but I want this to be a secret file, so it's not checked into source control. So to do that, I will update my gitignore. And here I will add db/checklist.json. The number of changed files remains at 1, but the checklist.json has vanished and the gitignore is now present. Brandon, what's up? Built on top of VS Codium. You should try Cursor, bro. Oh, I'm aware of Cursor. I've already been talking to the I have an account. Yeah, Cursor's great. I'm with you on Cursor. Good call, though. Yeah, I've been chatting with the folks at Cursor. They're doing a great job. Actually, I think I already did a stream on Cursor, but maybe it's time for an update. Hey, quick reminder, if you're on YouTube, if you're on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube and see the full screen. Link is in my bio. Okay, so Command A, left. I may need to manually move these checklist items, but I'm going to check with the code interpreter first. Maybe it did it for me. It kind of did. It had a ... but that works for me. So let me copy this. I'm going to drop it here. Then I will move these over. You know what? I've already had a change of heart. I want to have a free checklist and I want it to read 2 files because I want the community to be able to contribute to the basic checklist. So let me go to my gitignore. Instead of checklist.json right here, I'm going to have this called premium-checklist. We'll make this plural. Can someone explain what is being built? We're working on laterally.io. You can go there right now. Link is also in my bio. So this is laterally.io. And there is here the standard checklist, which is a list of things that you should do that I recommend you do to land your programming job. And so this is free. And what I'm now doing is implementing an advanced checklist that is not, it's not free. So you'll get the standard checklist for free, and then as little as $1 a month, you can get the advanced checklist, is the idea. So you're building a programming website using ChatGPT. The irony. I don't really see the irony. It's a tool that helps us. We program tools to help us all the time. What he's saying is learn from ChatGPT. Instead of what? I think learning with ChatGPT is great, but I wouldn't do that by itself. You still want to build projects, have a social community, so many other things. Okay, so here's checklist.json. Now let's pull these hard-coded data out of here, and we'll use that JSON file instead. So highlighting this. Cool. Yeah, you can see the very first item is join the Discord. Participate regularly and socially. So you're not going to be able to do that with ChatGPT alone. Cool. So I don't really have another checklist. I don't know what to put here. I think I'll just delete it. Maybe I'll have a Python checklist. Learn NumPy. What's some Python things? This is pretty much as an example, but we can go ahead and do this. Learn Seaborn. Build a data viz project with Seaborn. Compare and contrast pip install with poetry install. Cool. I don't know. There's a few things to do. Have you read roadmap.sh? That might help with the checklist. Yeah, I've read it, but it's been a while. Let's go check it out. Is it worth including? Okay, so yeah, this is way too many roadmaps. So this is the first problem, is that when people say, hey, I'd like to become, what should I do? And you give them 100 options, you're creating a problem, not a solution. So the answer is you want to start with JavaScript. But let's just say I magically know that the right answer is full stack. By the way, it says full stack new, so that's good. So I don't think they used to have this. But great if they added this, so let's check it out. I love the graphics on here. This looks really good. Let's download it and see it. Oh, of course. Why? Okay, that's fine. Audience note, if you're already a full stack developer, you should visit these instead. The target is absolute beginners. I like that, good. Find the detailed version of this over here. I'm already over there, thanks though. HTML and CSS, that's right. JavaScript next, I love it. Checkpoint static web pages, what does this do? You should be able to build static web pages. I recommend you to build. That's a weird way of saying that. As many test projects at each yellow step as possible. No, you don't want to build as many as possible. That's not good advice. Well, you want me to build 500 HTML pages? No, you need a time-boxed approach. The practice that I used to follow when I was learning was this. While you are watching a course or reading a book, make sure to code along with the instructor. That's good. Pause the video at regular intervals and code what you're being taught. That's smart. Search on YouTube, watch a few project-based tutorials. Which ones? Be specific. Try to build the same project 2 to 3 times. Very good advice. This is a pet project pattern. By the way, this reminds me, I'll be doing some reaction videos this week. So really, I should do a reaction video for this roadmap, actually. But so far, it seems to have some really good things. It's going to tell you Git and GitHub and Tailwind and React. This is smart. This is very smart. Cool. I'm sure I have some like little critiques. I've already even given some. One would be that you want to start with GitHub before HTML, actually, so that you get portfolio credit for everything. But I like a lot of this. JWT. I like it, but you really don't need to know it. Redis, I like it, but you really don't need to know it. When do I start applying for my job is my question. Is there job application advice? I don't see any job application advice. Terraform, bro. You don't need Ansible and Terraform, you just don't need it all. Monet. And you're going to do GitHub Actions after Route 53. After Linux basics. So yeah, I would change some of this stuff, but it starts in the right direction. It tells you HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's smart. Yes, reaction video. Thank you. Cool. Yeah, I'll do one. It's a free site. Relax on the criticisms. LOL. Oh, I mean, okay. Yeah, hopefully I'm not dinging them too much, especially if they are, doing this for free. That's awesome that they're maintaining it. There's a lot of stuff to like here. 6 most starred project on GitHub. Let's throw another one on there. By Balaji. Thanks, Balaji. This is pretty cool. So I will make a note to do a reaction video on that. Jay says, I'm learning Python right now. I want to become a software engineer. Cool. Then transition into ML. Is that the right way to go about it? No, not really. If you want to get into ML, you're going to want to have an advanced degree in a related field. And so really the only thing you need to do is get it into industry these days. I mean, it used to be very different, but these days, I would recommend a master's in a related field, either straight up data science or possibly statistics or something like that, or computer science. But data science or machine learning, there are proper master's degrees in those fields these days. So the best thing to do would be grab one of those and then jump into the industry from there, rather than going through software engineering and working into ML. That's a very, that's an awkward transition. Although, while you're studying for the master's degree, here's a good idea that I really do recommend, Jay. You can just get a developer role and have your employer pay for your master's degree. So that would be a great return on investment there. You may even be able to get the master's degree for free if you play your cards right. And you could transition with your existing employer if they have available roles. So it's going to depend what company you're at. But if I was at a company as a software engineer and then I got a master's in machine learning, and then I told my manager, hey, I got this master's at performance review time. Can you take that into account and give me a promo or give me a role change into ML? I think a lot of people would be friendly to that if the role was open. Jay says, thanks, I'm going to college this fall. Awesome, keep me updated. Observing says, can I get into industry becoming a full stack developer first? Yes, you can. It's a great way to do it. And it's a great time to start, because if you start now, you'll have 6 months of experience to start applying in January. And that is about perfect. So go over here, laterally.io, link is in my bio, and you can sign up for the free tier. Or if you want some more features, you can do as little as $1 a month or $30 a month if you want these better features. There's also $5,000 a month if you are a corporation and you would like to do a business partnership. So email me for details on that. That is a different convo. Let's get back to the sauce, eh? Quick reminder, if you are on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube and see the full screen. Okay, so we have this Python checklist, which is kind of a joke, but also kind of not a joke. Really, it's just to prove that the array works. So this is the public checklists, and then here I will have new file, premium checklists.json. Okay. We are going to the get ignore, and that's a singular. Let's change it to a plural. Let me grab this structure, paste it here. And this will be advanced, what do I call it? Programming job checklist. And we'll just call this advanced programming job checklist. Sergio says, is there a roadmap for computer graphics? I'm sure someone has one, but I don't. Okay. So now I want to go to my GitHub Issues tab where I have the advanced checklist described. I'm on Windows right now, so Control F, ADV, nope, premium, nope, checklist, where is it? Check, collapse standard checklist. Ah, this is a different but related issue. That's a different but related issue. What we want to do, maybe it's on page 2. User checklist items doesn't exist. I'll need to fix that one pretty soon. Let me search advanced. Multi-search. Okay, let me look. Gosh, it's not here. I think it's on a different computer. I guess I didn't save it as an issue. That's a bummer. So I'll have to actually use my brain. Oh, that's so rough. So we can get something in there, and then I will switch computers later and update it. Step back and actually think about what would go on this checklist. The big thing that I can think of is full stack, right? Okay, watch trial by fire. I have optimized my LinkedIn. So one pro tip is LinkedIn Premium. I have signed up for LinkedIn Premium, and continually use InMail through job search. Let's get a link for the details. So InMail is kind of a cheat code. It's way more effective than regular email. LinkedIn, what am I looking for? Premium. Cool. Yep, so 2.6 times more likely to get hired on LinkedIn, and connecting with hiring managers is 4.6 more times effective. So I can even specify signed up for LinkedIn Premium. Used LinkedIn Premium to connect with hiring managers. So that's one thing you can do. Do I talk about Next.js in the standard? I really should. Next blog right there, right? Cool. Here's a capstone project that reflects. Do I talk about T-shaped? Okay, so differentiated myself with T-shaped skills by specializing in TypeScript, testing, SEO, accessibility, data visualization, or another valued advanced skill, or other valued advanced skills. TypeScript, testing, SEO. Let's. Cool. Thoughts on Vite? It's great. Vite is fantastic. Thanks for the follows. Hey, quick reminder, you can go over to YouTube, link in bio, and see the full screen. Thoughts on Firebase? It's mid. Don't use Firebase when you could use Supabase. Supabase is awesome. Firebase is all right, but it's mid. It's no SQL. Most jobs use SQL. So Supabase is Postgres, and it can do more things anyway. Also, Firebase is locked into Google World, and Google World is big, but it's not as big as Postgres World. Okay, so there's 2 items. We're trying to get to 10. What are some other cool things that are not in the basic checklist? Yeah, session. So yeah, you need to make sure you've taken advantage of your free sessions. I've taken advantage of my free session. Let's see. It's not going to be free for everybody, though. It's free right now. By the way, I'll just tell you the reason that I'm sort of stewing over this. Right now, there's a limited time offer for as little as $1 a month. You can get a complimentary 30-minute session. That's only true for like this month. So I don't want to put it on the checklist because next month someone will be, well, I guess I'm going to update the checklist next month anyway, aren't I? Yeah, we should make sure to version these checklists. Let's make a note over here. I have a need to, let's see. Instead of checklists.json, I would like to use 2 files. Checklists.json, which is public and open source, and premium checklists.json, which is a secret file. Update the further. I have a need to run these database data updates as migrations rather than seed files, because the database seed has already been run. Please create such a migration script and I want it to include a version entry in the data model. So which came first, the migration or the data model? Let's see. Please create such a migration script. So here, checklist. I'm looking for checklist, user checklists. A user checklist is a through table with the checklist. Here is the checklist itself. Okay. The checklist itself needs to have a version on it. So now the checklist will have a version, okay? Which can be an arbitrary string for now. That works. So I'm going to stage the Prisma file. I can stage the checklist.json as well and the getignore. That's fine, I can stage all of these. The main thing that I'm going to do right now is I'm going to run a migration. So here I'm going to git commit -m, and this is feature version checklists. Nose Live says, do you ever feel like you have become dependent on GPT for coding? Not yet, although I could see that happening in the future. Good question. Hey, thanks for sharing. If GPT is down, how do you feel that? I feel fine. I just feel like certain tasks might take a little longer, but that's fine. Okay. So now I want to actually update my database. So let's blitz Prisma migrate dev. I don't know if I have the proper local credentials for the Postgres connection, so we'll see. Okay, cool. That's exactly how I feel. I know I can get it done, but it's going to take me 100 times longer. Yeah, for me, it's more like 2 times longer or 1.5 times longer. I don't know. It depends on the task. But in general, I don't think that, like I'm sure that GPT is not speeding me up 100 times in general. Error validating the data source. All right, let me take this off screen and make sure that my environment variables are correct. Cool. Yeah, my environment variables are definitely wrong. So I need to fix those. So let me just show you. This is the template env file. And then if you look over here, you can see I don't have an env.local file at all. I can try pulling this with Vercel. So let's see if I have the Vercel command line installed. 100 times is exaggerating, but yeah, 2 times. Agree. JW Hawkins, thanks for being here. Depending on the amount of bugs. Yep. Use GitHub AI, it's okay. If you comment correctly, it gets me about 40% or more there, 40 to 60. How's it going, Kyle? Yeah, I use both. I have a Copilot. I I think I disabled it on this computer because it was lagging this computer, but I use Copilot as well at the same time. So here, I would like to Vercel link or Vercel setup. Let me double check what it's called. So let's set it up here. Found this project, link to it, yes. Kyle says, I'm a director of engineering now. They let me code occasionally. Hey, that's quite an accomplishment. Yeah, I can't imagine. I'll get there one day, but for now it's just imagination to me. So, but good for you that you get to code still. No Slide says, I've been debating canceling Copilot. With GPT, IDKF. Yeah, I mean, up to you. Depends how much value you're getting out of it. For me, I'd still get a good bit of value out of it because I don't have to leave my IDE, right? So it can help me when I'm in the flow. And honestly, in my book, if it saves me half an hour a month, then it's more than paying for itself. So part of it depends on how much value you're getting out of it in that sense. But I definitely save at least half an hour a month, even though I have both tools. So what am I doing now? It says unexpected again later. Okay. Let me try to Vercel pull. Okay, so it downloaded env development local file. I'm going to take this off screen and look at whether that includes my secrets. Yes, it does. Cool. So I am transferring over. I pulled the secrets through Vercel and I'm transferring them over to my .env.local file. Okay, save that. And let's see if I can do a database migration now. Chifa says, what are you working on? I'm working on laterally.io. Link is in my bio. And this site helps people learn to code. It's kind of your standard, learn to code, and then you get a credential and a portfolio, like the whole kind of standard way. Except that I've made this myself. So what's the difference? The difference is in the content. The difference is not really in the feature set. It's going to be your standard features. You can make a portfolio. You can take a quiz. You can get a certification, put it on your resume, that whole the substantive difference is in the curriculum content. Nice. Like LeetCode? No. I don't know about you, but when I use LeetCode, I didn't use it to code. I used it to just grind for interview prep. So Laterally does include some interview prep, but that's like not the main. It's like not the main thing. It's actually trying to help you learn to code. Randifico, thank you for the follow. Papa, thank you for all the likes. Okay, we found changes that cannot be executed. Add the required column version to checklist without a default value. Okay, so it's saying, hey, I can't make this a required field because there's already that other checklist. Let me show you. This already exists. And so if I add a required column here, it's not going to be able to comply because it doesn't know the value to put there. So what I'm going to do is make it nullable. Okay, so I'll just throw a question mark in there. And we will try this again. And I will do a two-step. We call this a two-step migration. This is very common in commercial settings. You'll add a column in a nullable form, and then you will update your table values, and then you will run a different migration to denullabilize it or make it required, basically. Enter a name for the migration, nullable nullable versioned checklists. Sick dude, I'm currently building my dev portfolio. Front end is the port, back is expense track. Interesting. I wonder what you mean by expense track. I'm not sure what you mean there. I'll be hiring React, Next, and Kotlin devs next year. Kyle! All right, do your thing. Good job. My company is also hiring too, but I imagine there's enough applicants to go around. Supabase is nice. Yeah, I love Supabase. All right, cool. Man, glad to see y'all here. We're doing pretty good. Still getting kind of warmed up. Quick reminder, you can go over to YouTube and see the full screen. Database is now in sync. Let's take a peek over here. F5. I'm on Windows, so we're doing F5. Ran out of characters, it's an expense tracker. And now we have that null version column. So I'm just going to go right here, and I'm just going to say, I don't know, May 2023. I guess we'll use dates for the version for now. So hold on, let me pick a real date. Daddy.js says, I notice your home screen looks like one of those Supabase starting templates. Yep, that's facts. That is facts. So we're just going to do this real quick on the console. I'm going to say new date, and then to ISO string. I guess I can do a locale date string. How about that? No, I want to do an ISO string. To ISO string. All right, cool. The thing that we want to do, though, is make this like it was last month when I added that check. Like, I don't know if I added the checklist last month, but it was definitely not this month. It was last month or earlier is the idea. So here we're going to say new date dot set month. I think it's zero based if I recall correctly. So I'll just do January, February, March, April, May. I'll just do 5. No, 4. Cool. And so now I have this ISO string, and I'll use this as my version string. Let's get rid of the quotes there. Cool. And so now we have a version string on the checklist. Does that make sense? Daddy says, how much is starting salary for your dev you want to hire? So I don't know that so this is my company where I work. I don't know that I'm authorized to disclose our salary bands. So yeah, send me an email and I'll see if I can get you that information, but I don't feel comfortable disclosing that right now. But you can check the careers tab over here. And I'll tell you, they pay very well. I turned down a job at Google to come work at Upstart. I'll put it like that. Does that make enough sense? So, and there's a bunch of ML and engineering. Oh, we're hiring a director of engineering, actually. So, Kevin, if you want to come over. ML manager, let's see. Software. Yeah, so here's some of the software development roles. You work for Upstart. Yep, that's correct. So all the way up to distinguished level, I don't think we're hiring any juniors or interns right now, but these are mid-level, and then these are senior level, all the way up to distinguished. And if you're principal or staff, shoot me a message anyway. We might be able to find a spot for you. I know there's kind of a gap there from senior to distinguished, but shoot me a message anyway if you're looking. Okay, let's get back to it. So what am I doing? Now we are going to make this version required. So let's migrate again. And we'll call this required version checklist. Great, so I got these new migration files. Are you using Next.js? Yep, that's correct. Got these new migration files. I'm going to use a comment, and then I'm going to ask ChatGPT to fix it. Update checklist items to be the joint result of combining the values in checklists.json and premium checklists.json. Cool, so we're over here. It gave us this script. I'm not super impressed with this. You know what though? Maybe that's all it takes. So this is really basic, but maybe that's a good thing. I'm going to cut that prompt and add it as a comment for now, just so I don't forget it. Thanks for the likes. And I'm going to take a step back and just read this because I might be able to handle it myself. Yeah, okay, so the issue is that this is a seed file and I want a migration file. That's the issue. Instead of checklist.json, I would like two files, checklists and premium checklists. Further, I have a need to run these database data updates as migrations rather than seed files because the database seed has already been run. Please create such a migration script. I need to give it model awareness. Okay, so here's the model. Let's do a role context task. Prompt technique. So here we're going to say role. You are an expert TypeScript that is familiar with Next.js, Blitz.js, Prisma, React, and more. Okay, there's role, here's context. Instead of checklist.json, you would like to use two files. Further, you have a need, and you here is GPT itself. So I'm telling GPT you have a need to run these database updates as migrations rather than seed files. Okay, task. And why did I break it up like this? Because I want to include additional context. So here we are in the context. So then I will say further, note the existing Prisma model for the checklist entity. I'll annotate it as Prisma. Cool. Please create such a migration script. Let me just say, create a migration script that, wow, what did I just, Grammarly just shook me. Create a migration script that the name is already in the JSON, name is already in the JSON. Yep. Create a migration script that saves the version of the checklist with a value of new date isostring. Ask me if you have any questions that need to be answered prior to this task. Cool. Cubing Addict says, any ideas or tips where to begin teaching myself to code? Absolutely. In my bio, laterally.io, that is exactly what the site is for. So you start with the standard checklist, and after continuing the job search process for 2+ weeks. Oh, these are in the wrong order now. What's going on? It should talk about Discord first. Bro, what's going on? Do I have an off by 1 error? No, they're just in wrong order. Oh, these are not in order. Okay, that's a bug. The first thing is supposed to be join the Discord. So if you look in the database, checklist items, join the Discord is created first. So are they in reverse order? I've used the rect tool or flashcard. Reached out to a mentor to help investigate the lack of phone screening. No. Yo, I don't know what order these things are in. That's fine. I'll fix them. What if I sort by ID? I don't want to sort by ID. So they need like an order number. Watch the trial by fire is 2. Yeah, I guess in theory I should be sorting them by ID according to what I was doing, but that's like a bad idea because that's tight coupling. Did you program the entire website yourself? Yep. Jay says, have you ever used server actions before, or are you using API routes for data fetching? I'm kind of using API routes. I'm technically using Blitz.js 0 API, 0 layer API. I need your help. My next app says 404 not found when I use the link tag for new pages. That's an easy fix. Message me on Discord or something. We can take care of that after the stream. Isn't there a way to sort with Supabase when making the API request? There is. Yeah, sort could very easily sort by API. The problem is that you shouldn't do that. It's a bad practice because whenever I'm like modifying or deleting or adding records, the ID is going to get mutated so that it will be out of order. So it's a different concern. So we call that mixing concerns. When you use like the wrong column to sort on, we call that mixing concerns. Mixing concerns is a bigger topic, but that's one example of mixing concerns. You can sort by created at though. Yeah, I could. Again, that's mixing concerns. It's better to have an explicit order ID or order number. So I'll create a new column. Should I go back to school for a CS degree or learn on my own? If you already have a degree, often the answer is that you should not go back and get a second degree. So please do book a call with me. Let's see. Book an expert session and I'll give you personalized advice. I have a PhD in economics where I studied the return on investment to education. I'm literally an expert at this. I've been programming for 10+ years. So I can give you great personalized advice, but the general advice is that 2 bachelors is usually a bad idea. Now, if you're talking about going back to school for a master's, that might be a good idea. Again, it's going to depend on your personal situation, but that's a lot smarter than a second bachelor's degree. A second bachelor's degree is like almost never a good idea. Although you say back to school, I don't know. Did you get an associate's? If you went and got an associate's, then getting a bachelor's is probably smart. So your personal situation here is really important, actually. So what do I want to do? What I want to do is on the checklist item, create an order like an order index or an order number or order ID. Display order, display index. I like display index. Let me know in the chat what you think. I'm going with display index, but I can change it to order number or something else if y'all recommend. I've been told MBA, MPH, and I actually like econ, but I've been told I don't need an econ PhD. Yeah, you probably don't. Econ PhD is, unless you want to be a professor of economics, it's not super useful. So this will be an int, right? This is going to be an int. Okay. Do a Blitz Prisma format. Cool, and we can see it flattened the S character. Thanks for the questions, y'all. I'm loving the questions. So I'm going to make my GPT aware of this model as well. So here we are. Before we proceed, I have a few clarifications to ask. Do the checklist files follow the same? The answer is yes, with the caveat that we need a display index for each checklist item. Okay, so ChatGPT here doing a great job of asking a clarifying question, again, using the GPT-4 model with the code interpreter attached. Let's look at the second question. Given that we're moving from a seed to a migration, can we assume that this migration will be idempotent? In other words, if it's run multiple times, it should not duplicate the data. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Please do not duplicate existing items. Cool. You mentioned this. Can we assume this will be the same for all checklists at the time? Excuse me. Oh no, I got a sneeze that's like bugging me. You know, sometimes you gotta sneeze, but you like can't. That is the worst. RHJ says, I want to be a health econ consultant. Is my MPH MBA enough? I don't know. Do you really have both? You really have an MPH and an MBA? That's a weird combo, but hell yeah, you can be a health economist with an MPH and an MBA. Although you should really get a degree in economics, like getting an MBA doesn't really make you an economist. Sorry to say that. So you can get a Master of Science in Economics. That would be better. Also, it depends. It depends, right? So. Like the MPH alone could be enough if you have the right emphasis from the right school and the right classes and the right subfields and the right experience. So it really depends. In general, an MPH is not going to make you a health economist, right? But if you have the right coursework, that alone could be enough. I want to be a health econ consultant. Look, the bottom line is if you get the job, like, so what are you asking? You're asking about like job description requirements. If you get the job, you can call yourself a health economist. It doesn't matter if you have it doesn't even matter if you have a master's. This is going to really get off topic, but I'll do this quickly. So let's go to LinkedIn Jobs. Typically, I encourage people to consider a role in the field of technology and programming specifically. I actually don't think being a professional economist is a particularly good job, which is strange to say because compared to the average American job, or even or the average global job, it's a fantastic job. But compared to a programming role, I don't think it's quite as good. But we'll go through the motions here anyway. So the skill would be econometrics. So here's an economic analyst. Now you're interested in being a health economist in particular, but if you match the economic analyst job description, from there it's just a matter of finding this role in the health industry. Like you're already pretty much on track. By the way, this is only a step away from being a business analyst or a data analyst. So another you can do is get a job as a business analyst or a data analyst and use work experience to transition into economic analyst instead of trying to get a degree. If you were going to get a degree, you would think it would be an economics degree, right? If you want to be a health economist. Anyway, okay, so let's take a look at this one, for example. As an economic analyst at Flat Global Metals, I'm not familiar with this company at all. Undergraduate degree in economics, math, statistics, finance, any of those. You need to know how Excel works, right? Looks pretty easy to me. I mean, I don't even think you need the master's for this, right? I'm sure it will make you look better, but I don't think it's actually required. One thing that some people do, maybe the reason you're asking this, like, do I need a PhD? One thing that some people do is they want such a niche job that they realize there are no bachelor's degrees in that very, very niche job, like integral ecology. Is there a bachelor's of integral ecology? So this is like the wrong strategy. What you want to do is get a broad-based degree that will qualify you for many specific roles. You don't want a specific degree. You want a broad-based degree that will qualify you for many more specific roles. So here we go, healthcare economics consultant. And let's look at the required qualifications. Undergrad degree, that's it. Like you can get the master's if you want, but you really don't need to. And again, they want you to be an Excel whiz. And they want you to be pursuing actuarial accreditation. Have fun with that. Dual masters. Oh, okay. It's a dual masters at a top school. So yeah, you should be extremely well qualified. You should be extremely well qualified for roles like these. Like, literally, you should just be at the top of the applicant stack if you applied for this, because they're not even expecting a master's degree. So if you have a dual master's from a top school, like, you should crush it. Let me know how it goes. Okay, back to the task. Can we assume that this will be the same for all checklists at the time the migration script is run? Yes, the version can be the same. Yes, the version should be for all checklists that are updated by the same migration file. I did not answer one of its questions, but I think let's see if it can proceed anyway. Because I think the last question was, where do you want it to go in your folder structure? That shouldn't matter. We'll need to perform the following steps. I love that it does its own plan execute. So as a prompt engineer, the plan execute strategy is a prompting strategy where you would say, tell me the number of steps to accomplish this goal, and it would tell you 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you would say execute 1, enter, chain it with execute until you're done. Here, it created its own plan and implemented that plan. So that is really, really cool. I thought code interpreter is only for data analysis. No. What's up, Omar? Thanks for seeing you here. No, I just did a stream earlier today where I merged the schema of two projects. I merged their Prisma schema files. It can read zip files. It can loop through code. Yeah. Try and upload a zip file of your repository to Code Interpreter sometime. It can do some wild stuff. Patrick says, how would someone embed GPT on their own server and store and access the information in a library? That's a tough question. So GPT is a technology. So are you referring to a particular model? Are you saying GPT-4? So you could write an application that accesses GPT-4, but you're probably not going to actually put GPT-4 on your server. So I think you would want to access GPT-4 from your server. Now, if it's a different GPT, like an open GPT, like Llama, or Vicuña, or what's the new one? I don't know, all these animals. Falcon is the new one, right? So if you have one of those, you could actually install that on your server. Pretty complicated process, man. You know what? No, it's not. It's just, yeah, it is. It is complicated. There's a bunch of steps, and each individual step is pretty simple, but putting them all together is complicated. But you can Google install Falcon LLM. And you can see a bunch of guides on how to install these LLMs. And then this one includes LangChain. Check that out, because I think LangChain is going to answer another part of your question, is retrieving the data. Former IT guy, shoot. Yeah, it's just not a simple thing to do. Omar says, OpenAI recently introduced functions. That's true. Ryan says, use a for loop. Yeah, I think that's a joke. Good joke, Ryan. I'm going to crack open this Liquid Death. Not sponsored. Hey, shout out to Liquid Death. If y'all want to sponsor me, I'm open. I love it. If you're on TikTok right now, please follow the YouTube channel. Let's hit the road to 1,000 YouTube subs. What am I at right now? 740? Let's see where I'm at. 730. All right, let's get to 1,000. Trying to get to 1,000 this week. Okay, back to the code. Here's how you could implement this in TypeScript. I'm going to rip this, and I will look through it line by line. Please note the script assumes these files are located in the same directory. Good. That's how it should be. So it's simply reading and passing the display index, but my JSON files don't have a display index, so I will need to add that. No problemo. Let's look over here. We have the schema, a migration for nullable, a migration for required, and then a schema change for display index. So I am going to commit the display index property. We're going to commit that. We're going to do one more blitz migrate data over here. How did you get this good at coding? Certificates, work, courses. You get good by practicing. So I've been coding for about 10 years. And trust me, I wasn't this good for a long time. At a certain point, it's just like muscle memory. How do you get this good at speaking English, right? So we keep calling it a programming language. At a certain point, you can just, maybe around the 5-year mark is when you start to pretty much get this good. I don't know that I'm much better than I was 5 years ago. I know different things just because I've run into different libraries, but you get those basics down and you sort of know the language in about sort of 3 to 5 years. Schema Prisma means what? So Prisma is a DSL, a domain-specific language. So these letters on the screen is Prisma, the language. Prisma is a language by Prisma. And when we say Prisma schema, we are referring to a database schema. So a database is a collection of tables and columns and their associations and their relations. You can see that's exactly what this syntax, these letters, that's exactly what they do, is they define tables and columns and relations. So model checklist item will make a SQL table for checklist item. And then these properties turn into columns. And then here you can say relation. Like this checklist item is going to be related to this checklist. And so this is a very nice, compact, readable way to express the way we want our database to look. And that's what we mean by Prisma schema. Garala says Prisma equals ORM. That's right. So I just took the long way around of explaining what an ORM is. Duran says, what are you building in general? The answer is latterly.io, which is a website that you can go to learn to code. All right, latterly.io. Here it is. You can sign up for free, and you can help your other people on the stream here as little as $1 a month, and it contributes to a community bounty. And if the community bounty gets large enough, the entire community gets new features and gets like ads taken away, so you don't need to worry about ads, all kinds of cool stuff. So please consider at least $1 a month. This month only, I will do a session with you, which is normally like $100 an hour, but I'll do a session with you even if you just do like $2 a month. Okay, let's get back to coding some stuff, shall we? Thanks for the likes. Garla says, I've seen your lives for the last few weeks. You keep me motivated to code. That really, I appreciate those words of support. That's a really big deal to me. That's what it's all about for me. A lot of people can do it. A lot of people think that they can't, but really, if they were motivated, they could do it. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. You don't need to be good at math. There's a lot of myths out there about programming. Okay, we found a change that cannot be executed. It's there are 15 rows in the table. So it's the same issue where I need a nullable column first. I am actually going to go drop, I think I want to drop that table and repopulate it. No, I should not do that. I'm going to make it nullable and then run the migration and then make it required. Okay, cool. 3 steps. So let me take this display index, make it into a question mark. So here I am going to, Dunkaroo, is this real life? Welcome back, man. I saw you earlier today. Feet have 10 toes. Just kidding. This is temp optional IDX. Temp optional IDX. Patrick Cutaway, Prisma Schema. Thanks for the follows. What language is this? Yeah, this is a domain-specific language, a DSL, the Prisma DSL. Exactly what Patrick said. Good job. I appreciate the chat helping each other out. I love it. So this is temp optional display IDX. Okay, so we got this seed file. I'm not committing the seed file yet. We have a migration lock. Okay, that's fine. Actually, there's no changes in here. It's just line endings. So I'm going to drop that. Donkaroo says sending likes, bud. Thank you, Donkaroo. I appreciate the support. Okay, so now we're going to finally commit these 3 migration files. And this is going to be a chore, git commit -m chore. And the chore is lock migrations. We'll push that up. Now, if I look in my Supabase database, I should have nulled out column. I should have display index, which is nulled out. Here we go, display index, which is nulled out. We're going to run a migration that should idempotently update those values. We're doing some real stuff today, y'all. This is real programming. We're doing 2, 3-step migrations. This is like commercial level programming. So hopefully this is fun for you. Hopefully you're not stressed. If you're looking at this going, I got no idea what the hell is going on, that's okay. This is not junior level work, what we're doing, honestly. So just relax and have fun with it. And thanks for being here. Super Sick says, if you code for fun, you're weird. And I would agree. And I would say if you're not weird, you're boring. Daddy JS says, how did you learn Supabase? Practice makes perfect, my boy. I just literally done like a couple dozen projects, and eventually it's pretty easy. Although I knew basic SQL even before that. B said, you said this is not junior level work. That's correct. Omar says RLS. Maybe. I mean, it's cool. RLS is cool, but am I, like, do I honestly care if someone hacks one of these values? They're open. They're open source. Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe. I just don't want to make more work for myself. Whatever. If I like, I don't think it's worth it right now, but maybe in the future I will. Maybe you should try to explain to me why it is worth it then. If you want to. I'm not like trying to pressure you or anything. But if it's like really important and I'm not understanding, let me know. Okay, so we want to migrate to idempotently update the display index values. So here we are, we're in our seed file. Control P, seed. Make sure you pick the one that's in your repo laterally. Okay, I'm getting rid of these comments. I was just commenting those temporarily so that I didn't lose them. Now what I want to do is go grab the code from GPT. Okay, so we're working together, right? Has GPT replaced my job? Is it like connecting to Supabase and like updating values? No, it's just helping me write a script a little bit faster. So don't freak out. It thinks the type is non-assignable, and that is because I haven't updated the Prisma types. So blitz, Prisma, generate. Stefan, up, up, down, down, left, right, be a start. That's the combo. Magic combo. Do you think someone could get a job coding just using GPT? No, I don't think so. Stefan says you are now in God mode. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, if you're over there on TikTok, you can see the YouTube link in my bio, and you can see the full screen if you go over there. Road to 1,000 YouTube subs. Let's get it. So here I'm going to control click the Prisma, control click again. You can notice that I'm inside of node modules now. And what I've done is I've busted the VS Code cache, the type cache. So here when I generated the new Prisma client, inside of the node modules folder, this file was rewritten. But VS Code caches node modules, so VS Code itself was not aware that this file changed. So you will occasionally run into the cache typing problem when you work with Prisma, and the way you fix it is you just do what I just did. You force load this file. So by viewing it, we're force loading it. And this force breaks the VS Code type cache, and now it knows display index is a thing now. How does it know that? Because display index is in this file. Did that make sense? Let me know if you have a question on that. LJ White says restarting the TS server also sometimes helped it. That's facts. Thanks for being here, LJ White. Fallen Angel says that's better. What's up? Thanks for being here. Can see full screen now. All right. Cool. So now I have the nullable display index. Let's fix up the types in here. This says, I'm just going to drop this in on, I think this is a typo actually. I'm just going to drop this in on GPT like so. And we'll see if GPT can fix it. Fredo Ferreras. I think I butchered your name, homie. Sorry. Fredo Ferreras. Is that Italian or Spanish? I am not used to seeing a name like that. No, I'm not using Sequelize. I'm using Prisma, although a lot of the syntax is sort of similar. Fallen Angel, Patrick, LOL. Cool, cool. Thanks for being here. Prisma client find unique method doesn't support composite keys. That is correct. Okay, so it's saying let me give it another whirl. Give it another whirl, my boy, by all means. And it just wrecked this script. Look, we got the left on the right hand. The right hand is not correct, so we need to correct some things. It's using an old Prisma syntax. So Prisma has changed a lot since the GPT-4 knowledge cutoff. Basically, it's pretty easy to fix. I just need to point it at this instance instead of what it was doing before. Okay. So that fixes the main flaw. Patrick says, looking for interesting lives that pique my interest to watch through the day. Got a new office space at home, picking up a new hobby. All right, let's go. Fredo says, Portuguese, but I'm from Dominican Republic. Okay, I'm very sorry for ruining your name, Fredo. My brain thought it was Spanish, and I kept saying it wrong. By the way, Portuguese is the hardest thing for me. Because I'm from Texas, I'm from Austin, and I speak a little Spanish, and my brain always wants to try to make Portuguese into Spanish, but it's really not, and it really confuses me all the time. Sorry for that. Okay. So now we have migration, const migration, which has eventually got exported, I think. We want to alter this syntax again. We want to export the default seed instead of using this migration script pattern. Okay, so we'll call this const seed. And now we are, basically the wrapper of the seed method is clean. Now the wrapper of the seed method is clean. The imports, the const, the exporting. So now we only have to be concerned about the interior of the seed method function. Dabolski says, what would you recommend for someone to start with? The answer is JavaScript. Learn JavaScript. By the way, I have a checklist for this. Laterally.io, link is in my bio, and this is the website we're building today. And if you go here, you make an account for free. There's a free account. This is all in the standard checklist. There is an advanced checklist if you want to pay as little as $1 a month. I highly recommend it. But even the free one will tell you to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now there's a bug with this. I need to fix this bug very fast. The checklist items are out of order. But that's what we're working on now. So HTML should be near the top. Watch the trial by fire. I have a GitHub with a vanilla.js HTML single page blog. This should be like the third item, but it's number 8. So it's this checklist is so screwed up. Okay, let me just fix the order. That's the whole problem here. So you see I have this thing called display index. That's going to fix the order, and we're literally working on it. David says, you teaching people how to get jobs in tech? The answer is yes. Fredo says, okay, I just finished a project using Sequelize, Postgres, React, and Webpack. Excellent stack. Very nice stack choice. Java Tech, I learned Visual Basic, then JavaScript. Cool. And Fredo says, show the website again, please. Latterly.io. It can be as simple as that. Latterly.io. And it's also in my bio. So if you go to my bio, you will see this. This is the website in my bio, and Latterly is right at the top. David says, doing the Lord's work. That's awesome. Thank you for the support, David. That means a lot. Hey, by the way, David, if you want to support as little as $1 a month, man, it will help others. Even if you don't need to learn for yourself, you can be helping others. And if you want to be really cool, $30 a month, IRL events later this year. So check it out. And if you have, if you want to get your name out there, I can give you a banner. Alan says, do you do any hourly coaching tutoring? I sure do. Book an expert session right up top. By the way, pay what you can, as little as $1 a month. This month only, you get a complimentary session for $1. Usually it's like $100. So check it out. Fredo says, I'll try doing the 30-month. You're awesome, Fredo. Thank you so much. Yeah, hopefully I'll get to say hi to you after the stream. You can come over to the Discord and I can say hi. Okay, let's get back into the coding, should we? So here we go. And this is all open source, of course, by the way. Vanderveer Latterly 3. We have the display index. Now I have the seed, and the seed has some error in it. We have to fix that now. So we know that the wrapper of the seed method is clean. The rest is what we are manually reviewing now. Alan says, I need the web dev version of a personal trainer strength coach. That's exactly what I do, Alan. That's literally what I do. So check out the bio. You're on YouTube, right? In YouTube, there's not really a bio. It's my about page. So there's the YouTube about page. You'll get to the same place. Cool. So inside of the function, we have this version string. It's exactly what I want. So I'm just doing peer review on GPT now. The files, are these the files that exist? Premium checklist is the secret file. Checklist is the open file. Good. It's exactly what I want. So far, it's looking nice. For const file of files. Here, we're going to synchronously read the file. That's fine with me. These are very small, very fast. I don't need to do parallelization. Even though in theory I could, I don't need to. Omar says, is Prisma required because you are using Blitz? I haven't used with Supabase yet. The answer is that Prisma ships with Blitz. You can switch out of it if you want to. It's not actually required, but it does ship by default. And frankly, I like it a lot. Where's your dad? Says, is this software engineering? Yes, it is. Thanks for being here. Let me turn off my flashing RGB. It's kind of freaking me out. I think that's better. Which JavaScript framework is this? Blitz.js. Can I use your code for my GitHub portfolio? Please do. Please do. It's open source for that reason. So if you look on my GitHub, the very first thing I do, hey, my name's John, nice to meet you. Check out my socials here. Use this template to make your own. And then check out my portfolio here. Use this template to make your own. So please do. Copy it, and you can have like one just like this. If I click it, portfolio highlights, bam. You can also contribute, which I also recommend. Oh, that should be an advanced step, by the way. Actually, that should be a basic step. Control F, open source. I'm an open source contributor. That's right. So one of the ways that you can land the job is by becoming an open source contributor. It's going to look really good on your resume. Okay, let's get back to this. Name items is checklist data, so this is a destructuring pattern. And what this will do, name and item properties must exist on the super object. So here, this is an array. So here's one object in the array. This is a file of files. File of files. We get the raw data. We get the checklist out of the raw data. And now we're in one checklist. So this is one entry in the array. This is one checklist. Does it have the properties name and items? Yes, it does. Now, what is the issue? Checklist, find unique name, because it's not a unique attribute. That's the issue. So if we go to the script, if we go to the schema here, name, a checklist does have a name, but it's not unique. In Prisma, the way I would say unique is like this. So I can have two checklists. In theory, I can have two checklists that have the same name. So how do I solve this? This seems like a flaw. What I would like to do is the name version combination is unique. Okay, let's ask ChatGPT if it can fix that. Name unique field, but the name, the combination of name and version should uniquely identify a checklist. So while it's updating, Lane Ape says, how much do you make at your job? I signed at 370 TC. Where's your dad? Do you need a degree to get hired by a company? No, you do not. Although it's a significant help, but it's not required. Caleb, thank you for the follow. Let's get to 2,000 likes. We're at 1.7K on TikTok. Kadar says, why do you think it is hard to land jobs in tech right now? The answer is because the Federal Reserve manipulation of the interest rate disproportionately negatively impacts the tech industry, because the tech industry is cash supplied by investment leverage. And given the interest rate regime, there is deflation in the stock market. So tech companies have less cash on hand. They're forced to cut jobs. And since there is lower demand on the part of tech employers, there's lower demand for employee headcount. That's why it's harder to get a job, because tech companies are not hiring as much. That's the answer. Thoughts on XRP? You mean Ripple? I'm not buying Ripple. I stay away from that. Lane Ape says, can you give a ballpark on how much? I already told you, right? 370,000 per year, 370 KTC. Can you code C++? No. Fiasco, any tips on creating your own community? I work as a search engine marketer and want to teach people how to land jobs. I wish I had tips. I mean, I don't know that I have a super big community. I have a few hundred people, maybe 1,000. Well, I guess I have a bunch of followers. I have tens of thousands of followers, but those are not like all the community. Maybe they are. I don't know. I think I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm still trying to learn how social media works, basically. But I would say having a Discord is a good move. Having a Discord is a good move. And post often. That's basically all I got for you. Theano, thank you for explaining. Very welcome. Good question. Kadar says, how do you help people land jobs? I teach them to code. So literally, if you don't know how to code, I'll teach you how to code. I help them construct a portfolio, optimize the resume, optimize the LinkedIn, interview prep, referrals, references, social networking, how to search handles. That's pretty much it. I think those are the big 9. I can do some other stuff too, but it gets into a weird zone. So there's things like hyper non-traditional learning strategies that I can help with. So if you have motivation problems, if you're like, man, I really want to code, you don't have a cognitive deficit, like you're smart enough, you just literally can't find the motivation. This is something that like college doesn't help you with. This is something that like coding boot camps don't help you with. And so you'll have a lot of people that totally are capable of becoming an engineer, but they can't overcome those motivation issues. And so that's one thing that I can help with that a lot of people, that a lot of other learning pathways will not help you with. So that's a hyper non-traditional learning strategy. You might have heard of social emotional learning. So I also have a technique called emotional learning. It's like you just take the social out of it. Alan says, what factor do you think is the most important? Interest rate, demand? Will people spend the money if they can, making interest rate more important demand? No, demand is definitely more important. So jobs, the job market, it's supply and demand. All markets are basically supply and demand. So demand falling, the employer demand for labor falling is the main reason that it's harder to land a job. The question then becomes, why is the employer demand falling? So the interest rate is the explanation for the employer demand falling. The interest rate is not a competitive explanation or a stronger force or a weaker force. It's literally just like explaining the same thing. Like if a tree falls in the forest, why, right? So you know that the tree fell, but you're like asking why. And if you say, well, you know, a guy pushed it over, then the question is not what's the more important factor, trees or guys? Like that's a misconstrued question. They're working together to knock the tree over, right? It's actually the same explanation. Hopefully that made sense. Lane Ape says, I just want the money. Is that bad? No, it's not bad at all. But I will say, also, you don't just want the money. Take it from me. It's about more than the money. It's also about the work-life balance, the ability to work remote, the ability to have lower stress levels. The ability to do something that is legal and ethical and help other people. You can get a lot of money doing a lot of bad things. And I bet you won't. There's very few people who will. So it's not just the money. Even if it is just the money, that's okay, but it's really not. It's more than that. You're getting a whole lot more when you get into a tech career. It's good in a bunch of ways. It's good for the money, and it's good in a bunch of other ways too. All right. But yeah, if you're motivated to work for money, that's not a problem. That's the reason we work. Don't let people throw shade on you for that. So we got this name. It's non-unique. I told Prisma, it's like, oh, good point. Here's how you can modify the code. It says, I'm only taking the interior of the migration function. Remember, I explained why earlier. The knows coding is super fun after you get used to it. I agree. I agree. It can be a pain at first. We know. But it can be a lot of fun too. Alan says, it is the cause of the effect, not two different things. You got it. You're on the money, Alan. You're on the money. So what do we do now? We now look at the seed file, and I notice the name complaint is no longer complaining. So previously it was like, hey, name is not actually unique. But now I say where, I have an and clause, where both of these. So the joint condition is unique. Moreover, now we're using the find first. So even if it was a non-unique condition, it would be still non-erroneous. It would still be succeeding. It would be picking the first. But this should be a unique condition, actually. I'm going to go ahead and make a note. The AND clause identifies a checklist uniquely. What programming language is this? It's TypeScript. You can see the file extension .ts is for TypeScript. Kel says, what's the best way to learn Python? Do projects. The answer is do projects. Where's your data at? It says, can you dumb all this down? I have no previous knowledge or experience coding. Yeah. So where's your data at? The dumbest version of this is like you're on TikTok, right? Like, how are you seeing shit, bro? The answer is that a website is sending information to your phone, or where are you at? You're on a computer, a laptop, a phone. I think you're on a phone, right? So there's a server somewhere that is sending information to your phone. A seed file, we're in a seed file right here. This is putting information into that server. So like this list, right? Here's the dumbest version of it. Hang on. This is the super dumbest version of it. The dumb of it is we're updating a spreadsheet that will fix these. That's the dumbest version of it. Does that make sense? Like I can change these is basically all I'm doing right now. Jasper, are you using any Node libraries or just pure Node? The answer is hella libraries. We always joke about how big Node modules gets. Like it's bigger than a black hole. Look at all these libraries. It's in alphabetical order. X-Man Lifts, what's up? We love you. Thanks for being here on Twitch. Look at all these libraries. I must be using over 1,000 libraries. Okay. Control Z, Control Shift Z. So we updated this comment. The unique clause is good. If there's a checklist, we will update it. Otherwise, we will create it. Love to see it. Love to see it. If there's a checklist, we will update it. Otherwise, we will create it. And when we create it, we give it a name and a version. We love to see it. X-Man Lifts, what? Thank my project is small. I am using 3 libraries. Cool. These are the items. We get the items, then update them or create them. Cool. Yeah, once you, this is a super simple strategy. I mean, I guess it's taking several lines. It's not even that long. It's under 75 lines of code. CY says, sorry, the checklist on the localhost front end. Did I miss the whole question? Not sure I got the whole question there. Cool. This is looking good. And so what I want to do now is test it. It looks good, but does it work? Will it blend? Will it blend? Moment of truth time. Blitz, Prisma, migrate. Oh, this is a seed file. I should not be having a seed file like this. It should be a migration file. So I'm going to roll back all of this, but I want to move this to a migration file. Let me go over to the Blitz website. So why am I not just doing this in GPT? The answer is that Blitz has changed since the knowledge cutoff. Blitz Prisma Migrate Dev will create the database and tables based on your schema. But what about migrations? Delete DB migrations folder. I guess we can try reseeding. X-Man Lifts, already struggling to manage 4 libraries. That's funny, brah. You funny. Let me try DB migrate, and this probably should fail. Yeah, unknown command migrate. We can pull, push, seed, and execute. Let me try reseeding. So can we use an idempotent seed? DB seed is complaining. What about Blitz Prisma seed? Is it Blitz DB seed? This one, I always stub my toe on this one. Okay, it's Blitz DB seed, whatever. Alan says, do you have a YouTube video about how to handle version control, branching, etc.? I don't have one. I just show those practices in my live streams where I show how to do like a feature branch. It's just sort of embedded in my live streams. Yeah, I should probably create one. Where's your dad? Says, what's the hardest thing you've done? Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah, I do. What's way harder than writing code is changing people's minds. So the hardest thing that I've done is be able to convince not just a person, but an entire team or an entire like group of teams. We call that an organization or a department. Being able to persuade people at this level of certain decisions. Now, I would love to get into the details, but I think that gets into IP territory if I start telling you about particular like engineering level decisions at my company that I was able to create. I don't think I can talk about those in my current company. Maybe I can talk about one at a different company. Yeah, testing strategy is a big one. I like to influence testing strategy because I think testing and quality is really important. So I worked at a company you might have heard of called Amazon, and we were implementing an HR overhaul, and I got to write some of the testing strategy and persuading so even though I was a senior level, I was also a contractor. And if you understand social dynamics of companies, contractors are often not taken seriously. But I was able to create a great design doc and a great proposal, communicate it effectively, and get a bunch of people on my team so that our team adopted the testing strategy that I suggested. And I thought that that was a really proud moment for me personally. Okay, cool. We got the seed file, done seeding, it says. So do I have versions on my checklists? Do I have 2 checklists? And do I have display indexes? So I want to add display indexes. These are the items. Items are in an index. Are we just assuming this index? Let's see. Refresh the page and display index is still null. Bummer. So checklist item updates failed. Or they succeeded and we just didn't update the display indexes. Here, I'd like to simply use the order in the array, the position within the array, as the display index. So let me make that clear in the code. Okay, so we have the checklist data here, the items, index item of entries, checklist item. We're going to find or create. The fact that we did not create a large number of new items indicates either A, the JSON files were not parsed properly, or B, the idempotent selection worked and we did not enter the else clause. We entered this block, which is what I want to do. But for some reason, the index here was null. I think it's breakpoint time. I think it's breakpoint time or log time. Let's do loggers. Also, I can simplify this to this is fine. So let me log this thing. Let me just log this thing and see if we log it at all. Let me also do at the very top, just to make sure my logger is working. Give it a suppy. Suppy. Do you have a degree? Yeah, I have a PhD. But it's in economics. It's not in computer science. This language is similar to C++, right? I don't think so. Not really. I mean, it has types, if that makes it similar. Okay, so we got Suppy, and then we never logged the item. So we're falling through in the loop somewhere. Let's make sure we get into file of files. I'm going to hit it twice. That's what she said. Hit it 3 times. Hey, pull up. Why did I do that though? Oh, I know why I did that. No, I don't. Why did it hit it 3 times? Bruh. She literally never said that. Somebody caught it. We love to see it. Oh, okay. I never got rid of that log. That's why. So we got 1 plus the 2 makes 3. Great. And that's how math works. We're done. Thanks for joining. Boss, thanks for the follow. Quick reminder, if you're on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube, link in my bio, and you'll see the full screen. Something about watching someone debug and test their code is so helpful for beginners. I agree. When I was starting out, there was almost nothing more helpful than watching seniors try to troubleshoot. Okay. We're getting this twice. That's great. So what's the next thing we want to do? We want to make sure we get into checklist data of checklists. At this point, I'm going to name drop. So I want to see how many names. I want to see 3 different names. One, two, 3 names that I'm looking for. We have the programming job checklist, the Python checklist, the advanced programming job checklist. So we are getting into the checklists. Let's verify. Oh, you know what it could be? There's a lag. I forgot about this. In the Supabase UI, what we're looking at right now, this Database Explorer has a lag in it. So the seeds might have worked, and then we just might not be seeing the database update yet. It's a possibility. I'm not sure. Thanks for the follow, Jesse. Witzel Pixels says, I'm learning how to code. First language Python. I love debugging. You're going to be a great one. If you love debugging, we got a job for you. Let me just hit the refresh button and see if that fixes things. We still got null display index. Hit the refresh right here. Still got null display index. I'm going to go to the list of checklists. Do I have multiple? I do. Oh, this is bad news bears. Are you seeing this? Oh, this is super bad news bears. No, it's not. This is great because these are different versions. These are different versions. Okay. Jasper says, so your database is being seeded multiple times, no uniqueness added. There is uniqueness. There is a joint uniqueness constraint on the name and version. So the Python checklist can exist multiple times, but they will have distinct versions. So like if you look at this, look at the end, 313Z, right? And you come down here, it's a different timestamp. These are timestamps. Supposed to mean is the Python checklist got updated. So it's kind of like a transaction history on updated app. built into the table, if that makes sense. My van says, okay, bye. See you later. Thanks for being here. Okay, so the issue, so this is working as expected. This is working expected. The issue is that my checklist item display indices are not being updated. That's literally the only issue. It's literally the only issue. So let's take a look at the code. So at this point, there's no issue. I'm going to cut that, backspace, save. Checklist identified uniquely, fine. I'm betting this all works. So I think we're running into an issue maybe around here-ish, maybe. Checklist ID. I think this is our issue. These checklists, which are really checklist versions, by the way. So maybe I should rename them as checklist version. They have different IDs. So if I'm looking up the checklist item by checklist version, you can see the problem. Let's do a quick rename. So this checklist, we'll make it checklist version. Checklist ID is going to be checklist version ID. Okay. That seems like overkill, doesn't it? What am I doing? Sorry. Let me hit some more of the caffeine. Checklists have versions. I don't need to make a thing called a checklist version. So let me discard this. Discard. Right click, close to the right, Control Z, Control Shift Z, Control S. So I'm standing by my hypothesis that checklist items are not being selected here. If that were the case, I should hit the else clause and create over and over and over. So why are we not creating a bunch of checklist items? That's a good question. What language? This is type. Thanks, Jasper. Yep, I love it when the chat helps each other out. I love that. Nicholas, do you have a Discord you run? Would love to join any servers you have together. Yes, I do. Link in the bio. Also, if you go to Laterally, this is the website that we're working on. This is like the main thing I do. So first of all, there's the Discord at the bottom and the GitHub because it's open source. But also, if you go to the checklist asks you to join the Discord. Although the order is screwed up, so I'm sorry about that. We're trying to fix it right now. But yeah, joining the Discord is like one of the first things you should do because social learning is a big deal. Good question. Let's close some of these tabs, eh? What IDE are you using? The answer is VS Code. What are the benefits of TypeScript? Is it worth it to learn? One benefit is the types. It's hugely worth it to learn. So it's going to improve your developer experience. You will know the data that's included in various variables. So in JavaScript, if I have an object, I don't have a guarantee about what properties and values exist. I just have to know, just like magically, and I just sort of have to trust. And often that's how you get bugs, is because data doesn't exist in the expected way. With TypeScript, you can prevent and identify those bugs prior to shipping code. And that's not just great as a business. That's great for me as like developing all by myself, right? I'm not introducing bugs. We love it. Okay, so let's run this again. Let's see where I'm at. I expect, I don't know. I don't know what I expect. Is version a property of a checklist model? Yes, it is. So I have the checklist. Oh, how long have I been streaming, by the way? About 2 hours. Okay, we're going to wrap up in the next 10 minutes. Got to go spend some time with wifey. And don't worry, even this will be fixed tonight. Even if I'm not streaming when I fix it, we'll get that checklist fixed tonight. Okay, so currently, what's the issue? We have a checklist, and we are doing this create or update, and something is screwed up here, items.entries. So the name is working, the version is working. Is the item screwed up? Let's take a look. Oh, items is an array, right? This syntax could be weird. I mean, it's definitely weird. I'm not saying it's erroneous, but it's weird. So we have these items, and it's an array, right? So why are we doing items.entries? And that the answer is because I want the index. Ain't no way bro is coding on TikTok live because you thought it was a dictionary. I didn't think it was a dictionary, but maybe GPT is processing it that way. People shouldn't do console.log for should have inbuilt and print in debug mode. Console.log is totally fine. Don't be one of those people. Just don't. This command, blitz db seed, it is difficult to instrument. So I could just do this. Let's see if it works. I don't know. Yeah, see, it didn't catch. I could go do the whole debugger thing, but what value am I getting out of it? Please don't just be like ideological like that. Like, oh, you have to use an inbuilt like one of these. No, you don't. It doesn't even solve all the problems. There's cases where this technically doesn't work. Logging is... What's the equivalent of Python list, enumerate, and JS? Is it items? Look, this is an array iterator. What's going on? No, items will give me the key value pairs, right? Alan says, thanks for streaming tonight. It's been good, yo. Thank you so much, Alan. Hey, if you're on TikTok, quick reminder that you can see the whole screen in YouTube. R Mesa Jr., am I saying that right? R Mesa Jr. Did you get yesterday's YouTube transcript working? No, not yet. So this is an important call out. So yesterday I was streaming this feature. It's an open pull request. It's not done. Why didn't I finish that? Why am I switching over to the advanced checklist? The answer is by user request. So I really, really value you, the users. Pay what you can, as little as $1 a month. Influence the development roadmap. So I'm switching features because my pay what you can users wanted me to work on the advanced checklist. over the transcript API. So we're going to get that done. And if you would like to influence the feature roadmap and what I work on, pay as little as $1 a month. And I sincerely appreciate it. All right. So yeah, why do I not just use like items? I think this expression is problematic. Let's just change the loop. Let's go kind of like, oh, you know what? Is it the of end problem? Let's just go old school with an index-based loop. For I equals 0, I less than items.length, and then iterate it like that. We do this as a let. Did you know you can actually do this as a const? That's kind of crazy, huh? Let's do it as a let. I like the semantics of the let keyword here because I do intend for it to be updated. Okay, now item. What is item? Item is the ith position of the items array. Item is the ith position of the items array. Let's see what we got now. Mike says, shouldn't entries be used on an object? Yeah, I think so, right? Cannot find name index. Did I write something wrong? Oh, right. So that should be I now. I just deleted it. My bad. Index isn't defined. Good eyes. Eagle eyes in the chat. We love to see it. We're going to be wrapping up soon, y'all. Oh, there we go. There are my items. We're going to be wrapping up soon. Let's try to hit 2,500 likes before we wrap up tonight. And don't forget to follow the page. Okay. Only a few opportunities left to follow because we'll be wrapping up soon. I have participated in laterally. What is this? Name item, name item. Oh, I just have two different log statements. Okay, so they're both working, basically. We get the item. Checklist data and name. Okay. So let's check the checklist item. Are we getting a checklist item? Thanks for the follow. All right, so we're nulling out. That is the problem. Okay, so here, this is good. Right, this and clause is the issue. Alan says, that was fast. I like that the old school array index thing was the solution. Why was that better though? Ultimately, this was better just for readability reasons. So the other syntax is just unintuitive. And see, it's doing too much, as we say. It's just doing too much. It's destructuring inline where it takes items and it builds entries. When it builds entries here, this is an illegal operation, basically. And that's not obvious based on the semantics, the way it's written. It's not obvious that entries is illegal, but it is. And so the way that we debug that is we keep it simple, stupid, so that you don't have, like, we know what this does. This is the most basic way to loop. We really, really have high confidence in what this is doing and in its legality. And we just keep it simple. We just solve by keeping it simple. So GPT was trying to do it all in one line. We literally broke it into 2 lines and saved ourselves a ton of heartache. So verbose over these people who want to crush everything into one line, don't do it. Value readability, make it more lines, make it verbose, it's worth it. Cool. I think I'm going to pause it there And this is a good point for me to push this commit and then pull it off of my laptop so I can go watch TV with my wife while I fix it. Alan says, the second way was more like how my boot camp taught us. Cool. It is good to have multiple tools at your disposal. I think in one of my TikTok videos, I have like 10 ways to debug. Get stuck on one, but hey, great that your boot camp is teaching you at least one. All right, y'all. Thanks for being here. Talk to you soon. Hope you had a good time. I sure did.